Alright, so this is a battle against Bob and Fishy, another YouTuber. I'll link him in the description. He's a great guy. And we've been meaning to battle for a little while, so finally got it done. Just a standard OU match. Looking at my team right here, I have an Amoongus, just defensive, pretty standard. Melodic, which is actually specially defensive. I know a lot of melodics are regularly defensive because he gets that boost with when he gets status, but I have a specially defensive one just to be the wall on my team. I was trying to run a lot of sort of interesting stats here. Like you can see my specs Heatran. Donphan's pretty standard. Now this Conkeldurr got me into trouble later on, you'll see. I ran Choice Banded Conkeldurr, but I wanted to try out like an idiot, the Sheer Force version of Conkeldurr. Which is dumb because Sheer Force boosts moves by 30% and the Guts boost them by 50%. So that was retarded. But anyway, so on my Conkeldurr, furthermore, I'm running Superpower, I think, Ice Punch, Thunder Punch for coverage, and instead of running Mach Punch in the last slot, I ran Rock Slide because it gets Sheer Force boosted, and that was what I was trying to do. Unfortunately, Rock Slide is a useless move to have on Conkeldurr, and Mach Punch is probably the most important move Conkeldurr can have. So we'll see how that comes back to bite me at the end of the battle here. And then my last Pokemon is a Scarf Jolteon, which Scarf Jolteon is the fastest Pokemon on the tier, so it's kind of nice just having something that can outspeed absolutely everything. And he's got decent enough special attack that he still hits things pretty hard. So that being said, there's my team going to the battle here. So right off the bat, I notice his team doesn't have anything that can that's not affected by my Jolteon, but I decided to go with my Donphan anyway because he also doesn't have a spinner, so I think I can get my rocks up. I go for rocks first turn. I know he's got the Espeon, but he can't really do anything to me, so I figure I can go for it. If he goes into it, great, I'll Rapid Spin. If he doesn't, then awesome, I got my rocks up for the game. So he does, but I Rapid Spin, he goes for the Yawn. I'm just going to leave this guy in here because I want my Donphan isn't really useful against his team, and I'd rather have something asleep so he's not putting my bigger threats asleep, so I just leave him in, break his sub, so hopefully something can come in for free here. Unfortunately, he does go for the other sub. As I bring in my Heatran, which is my Specs Heatran, obviously. So I'm going to go ahead and hit him with a Flamethrower here. And he actually Baton passes into his Terrakion, I believe. And I'm going to break the sub, which is good, but obviously he's going to scare me out because I'm fearing a close combat. But at least he doesn't have a sub up now because that would have been very dangerous. So I'm going to go into my Amoongus because that can take pretty much anything he's got. I can wall this thing pretty good. See how much the close combat does. Nothing. So I'm just going to go for the Giga Drain here. Brings back in Espeon. Does a decent chunk, but he's going to scare me out with a Psychic. So I'm going to go to my especially defensive Melodic to take that because nothing else on my team really wants to take it. And he takes it pretty good, especially after leftovers. So I'm gonna go for a Scald here. It'd be nice to get a burn on this Espeon for some residual damage, but he switches out. Does a really good chunk to the Electrode, which is pretty frail, but now I've obviously got to get out of here. I thought about going in my Jolteon to take the possible electric move, but I go into Amoongus because he can't really do. He'll take the electric move well as well, but I don't have to worry about getting hit by something else. So now, seeing this Staraptor, I go for Protect, thinking he might be choiced. So once he goes into close combat, I think I'm safe to go for a Giga Drain on something. Unfortunately, he's obviously not choiced, and he hits me with a Brave Bird. And I think yeah, you can see the Life Orb there. So that was a bit of a mistake on my part, but because now, I mean, my Amoongus walled his Terrakion really well. But now, so I'm going to go in with Jolteon because pretty much everything on his team is going to be 2-hit KO by a Thunderbolt. And I outspeed it, everything too, so I know I can get that for free. Just take out his Miltank right there. Nothing he could really do about that. And now he is going to bring in his Terrakion here. I know I outspeed it, but I also know I can't kill it. I can't one-hit KO it, and Jolteon being really frail is not going to like taking any of his moves. So I go into Melodic because I figure that's the best thing I have to wall the Terrakion now that my Moongus is dead. And hopefully I can try to get a burn here. So I'm going to go for the Scald, fish for that burn, or if he switches out. I actually crit his Espeon, which is really nice. Not even gonna lie, the crit was awesome. So he brings in his Electrode, obviously fearing the electric type move again. And I go into my Donphan this time, hoping now I can wake him up. Also, I don't really know what set his Electrode is at this point. Thinking he might be Scarfed or Specs, but obviously he's not right there. He's Life Orbed as well. So since, you know, there's no point really switching Donphan out. He's not very useful. He's asleep. He's going to have his sleep counter reset anyway, so I'm just going to stay in and sack him right here. Oh well. And his Electrode's racking up the Life Orb damage pretty good here, so that'll come in handy. So I'm just going to go for a Flamethrower with Heatran. Just get the stab. I mean, he doesn't have the best coverage, so I figure might as well get stab on something. Hit the Politoed, does nothing. Gonna switch into my Melodic, fearing Focus Blast or a Hydro Pump. I didn't realize, later on I realized this Politoed is Scarf, but either way I go for the Toxic just because it's awesome to get Politoed's Toxic. Pretty much never hurts. But he's gonna switch into his Electrode, which works out pretty well too, because with the Life Orb damage and the Toxic damage, he's going to die next turn. So I'm going to switch into my Heatran because he can take the Thunderbolt and Ice Beam pretty well. Thought about going for the recover there, but he definitely killed my Melodic, I think, with a Thunderbolt. So I'm going to go into Heatran. As you can see, that does almost half to my Heatran, and Heatrans are, I mean, it's naturally bulky, so that was pretty insane. But he is going to die to the poison damage. So now he's going to bring in, I believe, his Terrakion, yeah, which scares me out, obviously. So I'm going to go into my Melodic, thinking I can take close combat. And as you can see, I cannot, because I'm specially defensive and not physically defensive. So that's going to hurt. And now here's where I made a mistake. If I had gone into Conkeldurr, got another special defense drop from his close combat, I could have either taken him out with Conkeldurr, or this would have probably killed him with one more special defense drop. I thought it would take him out anyway. I knew I was going to outspeed him. And since he didn't know I was Scarfed, he probably wouldn't have switched out in that case anyway. So I could have gotten the Thunderbolt off, and it probably would have killed him. But at this point, that's going to be a good game because he thinks, I mean, here you go. No Mach Punch. So just going to Thunder Punch away because that'll take out his other two pokes, which I will do. Yeah, as you can see, he doesn't know my Jolteon was Scarf, but so this Hydro Pump's going to do a buttload to my Conkeldurr, which also sucks because I probably could have lived one close combat, but definitely not from this range. But so take him out, and now at this point, there's nothing I can do. Conkeldurr is going to go down. Heatran can't do anything. So that's going to be a good game. He's just going to close combat me twice, and that's going to be a good game. And looking back on it, actually, the Sheer Force isn't necessarily a bad set to run on Conkeldurr, because if you run a Choice Band on him, you can't get the automatic Guts boost from the Flame Orb or Toxic Orb. So in that situation, it can be good to run the Sheer Force, but still, Rock Slide, no excuse for that one. You got to run Mach Punch over that. So I might actually try the Sheer Force set, the Sheer Force banded, but with Mach Punch. So that's going to be a good game. And thanks a lot to Bob and Fishy. It was a great battle. You know, could have came down to a couple little things, misplays on my part, but at the same time, I got a lucky crit on Espeon, and all in all, it was a really good, pretty evenly matched battle. And I like how we both are using pretty non-standard teams. I think that makes it a lot more interesting. But yeah, so I'll link his his version of the battle and his channel in the description. And until next time.